Greetings, this is Father Sam Moorhead, and welcome back to another Advent reflection from the Cathedral Rectory. Today I would like to consider all the more deeply the role, the influence, and the place that St. John the Baptist has in serving as an icon pointing the way to Jesus Christ. In the long tradition of the Church, both in iconography and in Western art with its various forms, paintings, drawings, even altar pieces, there's been a practice of diptychs and triptychs. Those are 2 or 3 paneled screens of art. A triptych would be a 3 paneled screen of art. There would be a central image in the middle, and then you would have 2 side images on either side that would give a reflection on the central event. The central event for Advent, of course, is Jesus Christ, who is God made man, the second person of the Trinity, who is the Word, who assumes our flesh when he comes to dwell among us. Jesus is the heart and the center of it all. But Pope Benedict XVI of happy memory, who just passed away this last year, he reflected that in the story of Advent, there's a triptych. Jesus is in the middle, and there are 2 side figures, and they serve as the Blessed Virgin Mary and as St. John the Baptist. With the Blessed Virgin Mary, we see one who is sinless and pure, open in hope to the coming of God's presence, the Redeemer come among us, and who first conceives Christ in her heart even before she conceives him in the womb. She is completely given to the ways of the Lord, and that begins not only at the conception of Jesus, the Annunciation, but his whole life long, to the foot of the cross and beyond. But another important Advent figure, the other side of our icon, is St. John the Baptist. He is this rather mystical figure who goes ahead of the Lord to announce the Lord's presence when he comes and to point out what he looks like. We see this reality of John as the forerunner going ahead of Jesus, first in the matter of his conception and his birth, the fact that it takes a miracle for John to be conceived and that he is born, and there's this miraculous unloosing of John's father, Zechariah's tongue, to announce the name and say that this son will go ahead of the Lord and prepare the ways of the Lord. And then you have the actual events of John's public ministry. He's proclaiming the truth, and for that he's going to suffer and die. Jesus Christ is the truth, and for being that, he suffers and dies and rises again. How did John proclaim the truth? His was particularly around the dignity and the right understanding of marriage. For you see, King Herod was in an illicit relationship with his brother's own wife. It was incestuous. It was marriage as I want it, pleasure as I want it, sexuality as I want it. Well, we live with some of the same realities today. But there is a law from God around what marriage should look like, the permanence of it, the exclusivity of it, the completely given of one to the other of it. That was certainly the case and well known in Jewish law and practice at the time of Jesus. And of course, he who is God made man affirms this. Jesus speaks ill of divorce and remarriage outside of the benefit of the church's practice of annulment. And so we want to make sure that we have a healthy, robust understanding of marriage. Well, John the Baptist was publicly correcting one who was acting in a way contrary to God's express will and desire. That's called a sin. When you act contrary to God's express will and desire, and you know it, it's a sin and a grave sin at that. And because John had rivaled and challenged the marriage, the relationship, saying it wasn't anything at all, if anything, it was adulterous and sinful, it was for that he lost his head. Now, why is this important? Because Jesus Christ has not just come to be the law giver and the law settler. He has not just come as judge. Jesus Christ, who is the eternal Word of the Father, the second person of the Trinity, has come to win our hearts and love. And Jesus is the bridegroom of the church. The Father sent his Son so that the Son could draw a people, an assembly, an ecclesia to himself, and that would be the church. And she's a she, and she is washed clean by the word and made immaculate in the grace of Christ. She is the life of the church, of all the baptized together coming alive in that relationship with Jesus. And the church is depicted in the book of Revelation as the bride prepared to meet her husband, Jesus Christ, when he comes, so that the two can enter into the eternal nuptial banquet festival that is heaven. Heaven is a marriage feast. It's a liturgical, glorious marriage feast, and you and I are caught up in the church, which is espoused and made the bride of Christ. Jesus is the bridegroom. And so John the Baptist really serves as the best man. He's pointing out the purpose, the role, the dignity of marriage, not just earthly marriage, but so that through earthly marriage we can see how that really leads to, points to, and is more perfectly fulfilled in the divine nuptials we find of Jesus's espousals to his body, the church. John defends marriage, dies for marriage, so that Jesus can exemplify in his person, by his death and resurrection, what the full length of marriage now really looks like. Not just a man and a woman in the earthly sense, but God in the flesh, with the church caught up in glory, eternally united in living in the deepest of communions with its God. That's our reflection for this Advent day. We thank the fact that Jesus is center stage, but that we've got Mary and John the Baptist to help point the way. Have a wonderful day today.